My graduates from my school being Forbes. Bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop. Bag drop.
Bag drop. All right, guys, welcome back. EYL, we got another exciting episode.
Brooklyn.
So,
Brooklyn. Oh, Brooklyn.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So anytime we get to talk about real estate, it's exciting. It seems like every time we talk about real estate, there's always a different avenue. There's so many different ways to make money within real estate. So this is the first time that we really had somebody from the city, from New York City, that was really big in real estate as an investor. So Jude Bernard is a huge successful investor out of New York City. He owns 13 brownstones between Brooklyn and Harlem. And he also owns a physical location, the Brooklyn Bank, which we'll talk about, which is a nonprofit organization in Brooklyn as well. He has a real estate company. Just a very accomplished.
Wait, you hear that sound? It's called mogul talk.
That's a fact. So yeah, the properties also.
I thought it was an echo.
The properties together are valued over $40 million. I mean, if you're familiar with any parts of New York City, if you know brownstones in Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy area, and Harlem, you know that on the low end, $1 million, $1.5 million. On the high end, $2.5, $3 million, $4 million. Like, it's not uncommon for brownstones to go for that. He has a very unique story because he's one of the guys that, like, when Jay-Z said, I could have bought a Dumbo. I could have bought a, what he said, I could have bought a crib in Dumbo. I could have bought a building in Dumbo.
For like $2
million. That same building's worth
$20 million.
$20 million. How I'm feeling Dumbo. So he's one of these guys that actually had an opportunity to invest early and before the areas really started to get gentrified and changed. And he just, set on it. And it worked out for his favor. So he has a story to tell. He got a lot of gems to give. And it's a great conversation to have because a lot of times we speak about being on the wrong side of gentrification and not taking advantage of certain things and like getting in when it's too late. But he actually got in before it actually started to change, and he saw the whole process, and he learned a lot along the way. He created systems for himself and just a wealth of information. He also taught a class for us.
Yeah.
For EYL University.
Officially a professor.
Yes, that's a fact. So he taught the class for EYL University, and we thought it would be a good idea to bring him on the podcast as well. So first and foremost, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here, brother. Appreciate you.
No, for sure. So let's get into it. Let's get into it because I was listening to your class. Shout out to Jamal. Did a good job of hosting it. And I know you said that your original goal in real estate was to make $500 a month. Like, he was like, if I could just make $500 a month. It's crazy, $500 a month to almost $50 million in real estate. Like, it's crazy how life works out. So what was your original process into getting into real estate? And how did you make the transition from just working to actually being a real estate investor?
What made me get into the game? I was just short, like I just didn't have, like, my 9-to-5 just wasn't cutting it. This was like back in the mid to late 90s when there were the bottles and at any minute Diddy could run into the spot and buy the bar out and you just sitting there holding your Heineken all night.
Right.
And I just didn't want to be that dude. I did not want to be that dude. So I was just like, yo, how am I going to do this? I had gotten into a little trouble earlier. Ended up spending, like, over some dumb shit, like spent a week in Albany County. And I was just like, yo, I'm not about that life. So I learned
Valuable lesson.
I learned very, very early in the game, I'm not about that life. Being a New York dude in Albany County jail, it was just like, nah, this ain't for me. So I was just like, all right, I can't be in the streets because that don't work for me. I ain't got no hot 16s, no hot rhymes. And my jump shot is, I wouldn't even say decent. It's all right on a good day.
Mediocre at best.
So the only thing left for me to do was try to find my way in business. So I was working at Verizon at the time, and I was working on my MBA, And I was planning on going the whole corporate route, but I was still, I was still young. I was like in my early 20s, still hanging out and stuff like that. So I wanted to be in the mix. So what I met this dude in my class. One day we were just chopping it up, and he was a real estate broker, and he was telling me, "Yo, if you got good credit, you could buy a crib." And I was just like, "How am I gonna do that?" Then he, walked me through the whole FHA process and this, that, the other, and that's when I was just like, "But I don't have no front money to do it." So that's when I pulled money out of a student loan, because although Verizon was paying me to go to school, but I could still take student loans out. So I took like a
I know that hustle.
yeah, I took like a $12,000 loan.
Yeah.
And I bought $100,000 crib for like 3% down.
They'll send you the refund check.
Send me the refund check.
Yeah, I know that scam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was FHA.
It was FHA, the very first joint.
So you took 12. So how much was it? You said $12,000 loan.
It was a $12,000 loan. When everything was all said and done, I probably came out my pocket like 10 grand.
And what year was this?
This was 97.
So it was 3% down.
Yeah, crib was $100,000.
So 3,000, and then closing costs, all of that stuff.
Closing costs and all the other little things.
Cost 10,000.
Yeah.
And then okay.
And then then the next crib came available like a few months later that was right next door. So I did it again.
Where's this at?
This was Southside Queens.
Southside.
So Queens is the origin of your real estate journey.
Those was the first two cribs I ever bought. I bought them in Queens. I didn't know anything about anything because I was actually living in Queens at the time. I was living in Rosedale. So I copped those two cribs, and then my man put me on to the refinance hustle.
So first crib you did the student loan refund, right? Second crib, same thing, or we just took the profits from the first?
Second crib, same thing. More student loans. Next semester, did it again.
Yo, that's crazy. I remember getting that refund check. It was like if you take out a loan, right, and then if somebody's paying for it, they reimburse you. And I think I bought a pair of Timbs and some Jordans.
Nah, see,
I wasn't thinking right.
And then like I rocked that same hustle for like 2 years, where I was where now I found out that if I paid it up front, if I paid the money out of my pocket, then I could apply for financial aid, right? I applied for financial aid, and then I got that money, and then I took those student loans, and then I took the receipt of when I paid my money, and then I gave it to the job.
And then they got reimbursed you.
And they reimbursed me. So it was
student loans bought your homes.
Yeah, that's how I got started.
Beautiful story.
That's how I got started. I probably statute of limitations is probably it's 1997. Good luck. Anybody want to prosecute? But that's how I got started.
Okay. So all right. So 2 homes. Then you say you got turned to the refi game.
I turned on to the refi game. So cribs that I bought for $100 grand. Now I could refi them because the values were like at 150 like a year later, because I bought them below market and stuff like that. And so now I got all my cash back plus plus more cash. So it's like 2 years into the game, I was like already 100 grand strong.
Came into this 100 grand strong.
Yeah,
not to be exact.
But I always use that because that 100 grand is like I had a home equity line of credit. I ended up buying a crib. I ended up buying another crib where me and my boys used to live at. I bought a 2-family crib, and then I had the mortgage was like $2,000 a month. The mortgage was like $2,000 a month. I had I was renting upstairs for $1,500, and each one of my boys was giving me $500. Plus, I was renting the basement for $600. So I was pretty much living in a party house and getting like $1,500.
He's the dude that Nipsey was talking about, right? He was like, yo, he's the guy who's in school making more than his teachers. He's the guy.
But the thing about that is, so it's like a year and a half into the game. I'm making money on real estate, working, partying, and also trying to get my MBA at the same time. And I'm not taking that I'm not taking that as seriously as I should, because I'm making money. So I roll up to class one day late again, and the teacher was like, "Hey, Mr. Bernard, if there's some place you'd rather be, why don't you be there?" Right? And I thought about that the whole time. So you know how the teachers give you that break at 45 minutes into the class? I left. I left my bag, my books, all of that. I just left, got in the car and bounced. And I didn't officially withdraw or nothing like that. I was like, you know what? You're right. If there's someplace I'd rather be, I'm gonna do that.
Words of advice.
So that's when I made the official decision that this was my life.
What school did you go to?
St. John's University.
Okay.
Like literally, my bag, all that other stuff. It was just
Still there.
Still there.
Nice. So, all right. So you said, and this was using your master's program?
I was trying to get my master's at that time.
MBA?
Yeah, trying to get an master's in business administration. I was trying to get a management degree because I was working at Verizon. I was a manager there. So I was trying to go up the corporate ladder. So,
all right. So at that point, you quit the job. You quit school, and you have 2 properties, you said?
By that time, I had like 4 properties.
4 properties.
Yeah.
And then, all right. So now you're just doing real estate full time at this point.
No, I'm still at Verizon.
Okay.
Still doing my thing at Verizon. But to tell the truth, I had to take a step back because I was gambling at the time too. I got this thing right here. It says never again 12/13/04. Because I was gambling heavy. So I ended up those first 2 cribs that I had to sell them to pay gambling debts.
What was your sports or blackjack?
I was doing blackjack. I was doing and dice games.
People don't realize that gambling is an addiction. I know a few people that have lost their families, lost home, lost their freedom because of gambling. It's not something that's talked about enough. Yeah. We talk about drug addiction a lot, alcoholism, but millions of Americans, people all over the world, suffer from gambling. Can you talk about that a little bit?
And first of all, you're right. It is an addiction, and I didn't even respect it as an addiction. I was just like looking at it. It's just something I did, and I was good. I was making money when I was making money, but when I was losing money, big money, And I had tried like Gamblers Anonymous and all that other stuff, and I remember going to a Gamblers Anonymous meeting and looking at these dudes telling these stories. I was like, damn, yeah, that's a bunch of losers. I'm not y'all, but meanwhile, I'm like going to Vegas and losing like 60 grand a pop, going to dice games, losing like 15, 20 grand. Funniest story ever, not true, really a funny story, but I was the Lennox Lounge back in the days. In Harlem. One day I found myself in the back room at the Lennox Lounge. My man took me in there, and there was a dice game going on, and I went down there.
CeeLo. 456.
Exactly. So I went down there, and I was with my man. Just went out there and humble. We didn't go there for that, but we found ourselves back there, and I was hot, and I didn't know anybody in that room, right? And next thing you know, I'm like rolling. And I'm up 3 grand, I'm up 5 grand, I'm up 10 grand. My man leaves because he's like, yo, I gotta go. I was just like, nah, I'm hot, I'm good, I'm staying. Right. Next thing you know, I'm up like 15 grand, and I'm looking around the room. I don't know nobody in there, and ain't nobody smiling.
Yeah.
Right?
Welcome to New York.
Right. So then I was just like, all right, cool. So dudes start making bets. I got 3 grand on this. I was like, yo, put your money on the floor. It's like, nah, I'm good for it. And
Thought they deuce was live, then I hit them with trips.
Then they reached out for their money, Paul. Forget about this.
Nah, that's not how it went at all. That's not how at all. So dudes was just in there ass betting, like, because they knew I was by myself.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
What am I gonna do? So I basically had to give every dollar back to walk out of there.
So you knew that they was ass bet. Anybody's not familiar, that's when somebody's betting with no intentions of actually paying what they're betting. So psychologically, you knew you had a decision to make.
Yeah.
Either you call their bluff and like, okay, I'm leaving. You know that they're not going to pay you. You're in Harlem. You're from Queens?
From Brooklyn, but living in Queens.
Long way from home.
And this is 1990 something Harlem. Not,
Dangerous.
Not gentrified.
No, different
No
Harlem.
Whole
That's
Foods.
a different.
Yeah.
No Whole Foods, no Magic
so
Johnson theater, yeah.
psychologically, you was like, to just keep it respectful, I'll lose the money. I'll play until I just lose enough.
Exactly.
So I don't just have to make this an awkward situation. I could just, at least I could just not get killed out here.
Exactly. I could front I made a decision.
No, that's
very wise move. That's a smart move.
That's a calculated decision. You calculated it very well.
You know, but it's the same calculated decisions that you make every day in real estate. You know what I'm saying? Like all the time, it's like, do I take this L right here, and live to fight another day, or do I keep going?
So, at what point do you really hit your stride in real estate and kind of like hit it out the park?
So, again, I always say I came into this game 100 grand strong. I had a crib in Rosedale, the crib where I lived with my boys.
Queens.
Exactly. So I pulled 100 grand out of that. And, you know, like whenever cats get some real dough, what they want to do? They want to open a bar.
A record label. I thought you were going to say record label.
That was my first. I thought barbershop.
Barbershop, record label, laundromat, the sneaker store.
Yeah.
So I was trying to open up a bar in downtown Brooklyn. Right. So I met this real estate broker, and he basically was like showing me around, and then I told him, you know, I let him know how much money I was holding, and he basically was like, yo, I have an opportunity for you. So he brought me to this crib in Clinton Hills, right?
Jersey.
No, Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn.
Clinton Hills, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
And I ended up buying a brownstone for like $400,000. You know, 10% down, 40 grand. So I copped that joint, and I ended up copping the joint next to it, like 3 or 4 months later, with the rest of that money, right? So those two cribs, I bought one for 400, then I bought the other one for 440, and this was like 2003. So this was right before things started to pop. So within a couple of, I would say, every month, like the values were going up like 100 grand, 150 grand, 200 grand, up until like 2006, 2007. So by 2006, those same cribs that I bought for 400 grand turned were worth almost $800,000-$900,000.
Yeah, and are you getting rental income from them, or some of you flipping?
No, I didn't get into the flipping.
Okay,
game
so
yet.
we just rental income right now.
Yeah, this is straight rental. So
Okay.
and I still owe them cribs now.
Okay.
You know, so I was taking home equity lines of credits out and just buying more and you know, balling out. You know, so now this is like 2006, 2007. You know, that's when I bought the big crib in Jersey. You know,
Of course, gotta do that. You know, an interesting thing about Clinton Hills. You know, an interesting historical hip hop fact. So the late great Christopher Wallace. You know, a lot of people think he's from Bed-Stuy.
St. James.
He said the Lavis one from Bedford-Stuyvesant, but his actual house is on a borderline, and technically it's in Clinton Hills.
Yeah, it's not even on the borderline because it's St.
I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
Rest in peace, Big.
Because you got
You don't stop.
he's like 6 blocks from Bed-Stuy.
Yeah, little known fact.
Exactly.
So, and the New York Post did a story because, you know, he said his mom had the one. It was never a 1-room shack. Not sure why he said that, but it's that same apartment right now is renting for $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
And the New York Post did a story about it because it's like, you know, that became so synonymous because when he came out with that song Juicy, right?
Yeah.
When he was talking about it, he literally chronicled that apartment, and that apartment today is literally, I think it was like it might be like $4,200 a month for that same apartment that he used to live in back in the 90s. So it's crazy.
So I'm gonna take you back to a true story back on Biggie's block, right? So this is like 2000, 2002, 2003. Again, I'm on the corner of St. James and Fulton. You know, that little triangle over there. I don't know if anybody ever saw that like that freestyle Biggie was doing.
Yeah,
in front of the corner store.
Yeah, in front of,
When they had the crates out.
exactly.
with the Timbs on with the shorts.
They put it in Juicy too. They was doing the pull-ups on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm on that corner. This is before I bought the cribs in Brooklyn. I'm on that corner, rolling dice, because that's what I do.
Dice shooter.
So we out there, we rolling dice, heavy. Like there's like at least 20 dudes out there, all thugs, you know. Like, and I was comfortable out there because this is Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn.
Exactly. I'm comfortable out there. This ain't, you know what I'm saying?
Not Harlem.
Exactly. So I'm out there rolling dice, heavy. And there's a cipher, you know what I'm saying? There's like 20 dudes all in a circle and dudes are smoking blunts and 40 ounces, old E and St. Ides. And
One sec. For the people that are under 25, a 40 ounces of alcoholic beverage.
that will give you cancer. Right? So we're in this cipher, like, and what happened was the dice are on the floor. Right, and right in the middle, here comes this white girl who's jogging with her headphones on, who runs right through the cipher, kicks the dice, and keeps it moving.
No remorse.
And what happened was, what I looked around was that nobody said anything, but nobody believed what just happened.
Yeah,
and that's when I knew that this was her neighborhood now, and these were the outliers.
That's crazy.
Right?
The dice game changed your life.
Yo,
That's crazy.
On a positive.
On the positive side now.
That's
exactly, because I looked at it, and it was just like, yo, she just kept it moving, like no fear in her heart, no nothing, and the dude, and nobody say nothing to her.
Whose role was it? Yours?
But that's when I knew. That's when I started looking at that area a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's when things changed for me over there. That's when, you know, I got this philosophy, right? That the only way you make money is when you're able to see things that other people can't see. So when you see opportunities that other people can't see, right? And the other thing I always say is like when you do things that other people are not willing to do, right? So at that little dice game, it opened my eyes and I was able to see something, you know what I'm saying? I was able to see change coming. You know, it's just like very early in those days, like I never did a marketing analysis, you know, to check the demographics, to see what people were making and what you know the money was like in the neighborhood and what was coming, right? So what I used to do a poor man's marketing analysis, which is I would just look to see what businesses were coming in the neighborhood, right? So like if I saw a Starbucks opening up, I was just like, yo, I need to be around here. Because like it was like copying somebody else's homework.
Yeah.
Because you know they did their marketing analysis.
Yeah. So if they felt comfortable enough coming into this neighborhood, then I should feel comfortable enough to start investing in this neighborhood.
Exactly. So when I saw like I initially like you're familiar with Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically like the big money was Fort Greene, then the next big money was Clinton Hills, and then the next big money was Bed-Stuy, right? So I got in on the Clinton Hills side, like when it was still there's still a little bit of money to be made, right? So when I saw like these coffee shops and the tea store that's on Biggie's block now. You know what I'm saying? On the corner of his block, there's a tea store.
No more bodega.
The crazy thing is like people like the New York Post. It's a great article for anybody if they want to read it. And they was interviewing like the neighbors. It's like all hipsters and tech people. And they like, yo, it's hard to even imagine those lyrics that he rapped about now, like on this block. Like it would be hard to imagine that. Like this is so far. And I remember even like Fort Greene, like when I was young, because like when I was young, I used to play basketball and, you know, going to like Gauchos and Riverside and a lot of guys from Brooklyn and meet guys from Fort Greene. And that's the first time I ever heard about Fort Greene. And it was different. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But you know who don't get no love for being on that block?
Who's that?
Who you know who else was on that block?
I don't.
St. James between Gates and Green. Chubb Rock.
Chubb
Oh,
Rock.
shout out to Chubb Rock.
Legendary. Legend.
Yeah.
Most people
That's where
won't.
he's from?
That's his block right across the street from
Yeah.
Big.
Got overshadowed.
Yeah.
It's a big shadow. Big's a big shadow.
Exactly.
Chubb Rock.
Another
Wow.
big man that could rap.
Yeah, that's a
Chubb
fact.
Rock.
That's a fact.
Chubb Rock. Legend.
Yeah, I think that's the first time I heard Nas when he was on like back in the Gorilla Games. I think Chubb Rock was on the record. I was like, who's this guy? Talking about he waving automatic guns at nuns. I'm like,
Chubb Rock.
what's up, y'all? It's the fourth quarter. It's a new month. And what better way to start it than to come and to join us at EYL University?
Yes, the fourth quarter is where star players make a name for themselves. So come and join the #1 roster. EYL University is the biggest platform for business in the universe. We have over 70 past classes, weekly classes. We have a private investment group on Facebook, which gives you access to our movie club, our book club. We also have bi-weekly real estate calls with MG, the mortgage guy, and monthly financial advising calls with none other than yours truly. So head over to EYLUniversity.com right now and enter promo code EYL for 40% off of our annual membership.
That's right. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Head over. We'll see you on the other side.
Let's do it. You see the gentrification taking place. You have the moment in the dice game where it's like, and that's a good point that you bring up too, because it's like, it's unfortunate, but nobody should have crime brought upon them. Nobody. But like, you see in neighborhoods, like, we'll commit crime against each other all day. Well, you never commit crime against anybody that doesn't look like us. Even Nipsey Hussle said that, like, we programmed to actually go and train to hunt and do violence and disrespect people that look similar to you. But when you see somebody that looks opposite to you, you're not even going to play around with that because you're scared, really, like, of repercussions that come with that.
Yeah, the consequences.
Yeah, serious consequences. So you saw that happening in your brain. So you're like, all right, did you want to just double down? Like, now I got to actually really double down on my investment strategy and buy these properties before it's too late?
It'd be very easy for me to tell you right now that, I had this master plan, right? And I saw that, and this is how I was going to execute, and this is the plan, and this was the roadmap that got, son.
Just happened.
It's happening. Like, that's the beauty of, like, when people come on these podcasts, right? Everybody wants to I can't say the word. Chronologically define everything that they did right, but nobody highlights all the mistakes and the dumb shit that they did, and you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of mistakes were made. Like, it worked out. At some point I saw it. Like, in the last 10 years I've it's been crystal clear. But I was still trying to figure it out, still trying to...
What's some of the mistakes that you made? Because you're right, people can learn, just like they learn from information, they can also learn from mistakes. What's some of the biggest mistakes that you made?
A lot of the cribs that I sold.
Too early?
Sold them too early. Like 184...
Oh, you still got the address in your head?
184 Madison, right? So 184B Madison... I bought that crib for like $400,000 when it was worth $700,000, and I sold it for $900,000 in a few months. And at that time, I thought I was like the smartest dude in the world, because I copped that joint. And there's a story behind that joint too.
Is that the one with the you brought it because somebody else wanted it?
Exactly.
Can you tell that story? I think that's good. That's a good strategy. I was listening to that. Can you tell that story?
All right. So I had gotten a phone call about that one particular property, right? That one particular property. But in just like any other game, just like what other what other podcasts are doing and who the players are and what their targets are. So I knew for a fact that there was a Hasidic dude who owned the two buildings opposite of that building, right? So I got the phone call on that one, just random, somebody who knew, somebody who knew somebody's auntie or this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. I got the phone call. So I was able to buy that crib that was worth $700,000 for for $400,000. So I bought that crib with no intention of doing anything with it except to extort the guy who owned
The other two. Because he wanted the whole block.
Because he wanted to. Plus, it just gives him power, like to have. It's monopoly. You get 3 in a row. Like I'm still chasing 3 in a row. Like I've got, I got a couple of joints where I got, 2 in a row.
After 4, you get the hotel.
Exactly. So I basically used, I had no desire for that building. It was not within the confine. It wasn't where I was working at the time, but I got it. Didn't do any work to it, and held it. And him and I just went back and forth for a few months until he gave me. He gave me the $900,000. And the thing is, it might seem as if I turned $400,000 into $900,000. That's not really the case. I really turned $100,000 into $500,000 in a few months, because although the crib was $400,000, I came out of my pocket 20% down, which was $80,000 plus closing costs, which was $100,000, which I put that down, but then I sold it for $9 million.
Yeah.
So that $500,000 profit was made with the $100,000. So that is like one of like the best G moves I've like percentage wise.
Yeah.
Percentage wise, that's like one of the best. Percentage in time was probably one of the best G moves I've made.
Yeah.
Better than Tesla.
Better than Tesla.
Yeah. I like. So when I heard you speaking about that, it was like this. Do you have some reasons to buy? Obviously, cash flow was what you were doing, equity. Yeah. So that was your chess move.
Yeah,
that was your chess move. Then you said there's some portfolio fits. One thing I found very interesting was like obviously 2007 affected the real estate game like no other in our generation. Yeah. But you kept all your properties.
By hook and by crook.
How did that happen?
So. First of all, like I literally lost everything, right? Mm-hmm. So like 2006, I was like a hood billionaire, like I had a net worth of $3 million. $3 million is like $1 billion in the hood.
No, you're a billionaire.
Right?
It's a fact.
Yeah, very close to $1 billion.
Right. So, but like when I was over leveraged. I was spending, I was in the clubs, $4,000 nights, like maybe 2-3 times a month, $1,500 nights, more than that.
What clubs were you frequenting at this time?
Oh, man. So many, man.
From Club Cheetah to Club Amnesia.
all of that, all of that.
Nice.
All I don't know how, I ain't gonna ask you how old, but I guess all the Black Diamond parties back in the day. And China Club.
We've been
there a few times.
I was going to clubs when I was a little kid, like 12 years old. My brother was a promoter, and I had a fake ID, and I always looked older than I was. So I remember these clubs, like all of the clubs when I was like 12 years old. But that might have I like Speed. I was doing all these clubs.
March 21-12.
March 21-12. All these clubs.
Yeah. I was there spending money.
Okay.
Just getting caught up, you know what I'm saying?
You were the guy we were watching with our cups.
Yeah, and just like when
exactly.
A few years later, I was watching Puff with my cup.
Right.
Night. So it was just like the same way that made me want to go out and do more. Hopefully, other people did that as well. But anyway, I lost everything by like 2008, right? And I had a whole bunch of cribs. And every last one of them was just like underwater because I had pulled too much cash out. I had this big house in Jersey that I was paying like $7,000 a month for. I think I had like paying $1,000 for. I had a drop 6 lease. Just everything.
Starter kit. Yep.
Yeah, the dough was before we had Instagram models, we had the K-Slay models in those magazines. Yeah. So I had a couple
straight stunting magazines.
Exactly. So I had a couple of those on the payroll. So Literally lost. You know what I'm saying?
Literally pay rent.
Yeah.
Don't let that go over your head.
So
A couple.
exactly. So
2 or 3.
So after that, I woke up one day and I was just like, yo, I went from positive 3 million to like negative $1 million when I did the math, you know. And I remember just being in my crib waiting to have them come, you know, like I got all the foreclosure notices and stuff like that. And that's when I basically got on grunt, you know, like I had like probably like $40,000 or $50,000 in cash left, and that's when I got on my grind. And I really think that I worked for like the next 2-3 years without a day off. You know, like I was doing everything. I had stopped gambling by then. I had opened this thing called Loft 676. It was a studio, like, and I used to rent that out. And actually, there would be no Brooklyn Bank without Loft 676 because I was, you know, having parties in there and stuff like that. And
So like an event space.
it was an event space.
Okay.
So I did that for a while. I ended up going to India, getting a hair connect, and I started a hair company.
Like weaves?
Yeah,
Where?
yeah. Like I had the number three hair Indian hair company in New York City for like a year or two.
Little known fact.
Yeah, Select Strands.
Select strands.
Exactly.
Huh.
So I was doing that. I had a card game going. You know, I had even though I wasn't gambling, but I knew degenerate gamblers. So I was just like, yo, I had this card game going. You know,
Call the old folks up. Yo, what's up? Yeah, I'm about to run this game, yo. Nah, I ain't playing. Just bring your money.
exactly.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
you just had to do what you had to do to just get back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you kept them all. You kept all the
But you were able to keep your properties by doing all these side hustles.
all these sides 24 hours a day. I was Airbnb in my crib.
This is the early stages.
Yeah. That's when they was called Home Away and VRBO, you know, all that other stuff. So I was doing that, you know, like letting people stay in my crib for like $500 a night while I was sleeping on a friend's couch. You know,
You gotta do what you gotta do.
just did what I had to do.
And then you survived. Let me ask you this. As far as the HELOC, let's bring it back. You spoke about the HELOC, and we talked about HELOCs before a little bit, but you want to talk about HELOCs a little bit, like the benefits of it and maybe like some things that people may be aware of? There's a home equity line of credit, right?
Yeah.
Different from a refi.
Yeah, nah. So basically, you take a HELOC when you have some equity in the property, and it's either a secondary lien or it could be a primary lien, depending on how much equity you have. And it's basically like a credit card or a checking account on your crib. So you're not paying interest when you don't owe them any money, but when you take the money out, you're paying interest on it. So it's like, so let's say you have a crib and it's worth $1 million, and you have half a million on your mortgage, right? And so now you could take up to 80% on the HELOC, so that's $300,000 a home equity line of credit. So you have a lien on your property for $300,000 on that HELOC, but unless you're using the whole thing,
You don't have to pay.
You don't have to.
And that's the good thing as far from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, as far as like with the refi, it's essentially like a second mortgage on your home,
Exactly.
right? And you have to pay the interest no matter what.
interest and principal.
Interest and principal no matter what, but you get the money where the home equity line of credit, you take the money out
As you need it.
as you need it.
Exactly.
It's just available to you.
Exactly. So
Are the interest rates higher?
the interest rates are typically around what the regular thing is. What you normally save on is the closing costs, because there's typically no
Right,
closing
when you
costs.
refi.
Exactly.
Okay.
So with the home equity line of credit, you always got to just do the math on, all right, I'm going to be paying this much interest on it. And if if I make a decision, it has to cover this interest plus make me more. You know, like earlier this year, I banged out all my HELOCs because I didn't want them to
cancel it when you couldn't get it. That's something that, I'm about. MG, Matt has said that before. He said that before COVID. He was like, yo, y'all, he's like,
take it out.
Yeah, because it's like monopoly money. Like if the value of your home goes down, then that's going to affect your refi and your HELOC. So it's like, he said that like with COVID, you never know. They can just, it's not like it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
They can cancel it. So it's like, you don't need to use it. You don't have to use it, but at least you have it locked in. And then if you need to use it, it's available to you.
That literally happened. I went to the bank in January because I was going to refi. And I hit Matt up. I'm like, yo, run me some numbers from the refi. And run me some numbers for the HELOC. And I went back to the bank in March. HELOC wasn't available anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, damn.
So back in March, I had like a million and change in HELOCs, and I pulled it all out because I was just scared.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to wake up one day, because that happened to me back in 2007, where I woke up one day and all my HELOCs were gone. So I took this cash out, but I didn't want to just sit with it in the bank. So I ended up putting it in the market at that time, when the market was at its lowest.
In March.
You
put $1 million in the market?
Yeah.
And what stock did you put it in?
Amazon, Tesla.
Apple?
Nah. Amazon, Tesla, this VGT.
VGT, that's a good one. That's solid.
We talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
It's a solid one.
VFIAX, which is a Vanguard.
ETF, I think.
ETS. Yin, which is a Chinese one, YINN. That one ain't making no real money. And I put in Baba.
Alibaba?
Yeah, I ain't make no real money on that. Like, cause I got that in about 200 and it's like at 250 now. Right.
But that Tesla's a little different.
Yeah, that Tesla hit a little different.
So all right, this is important for people to understand, because it's like you always got a plan for a worst case scenario. So when you saw them, you're like, all right, COVID's hitting, this is about to get crazy. Don't panic. Let me gather as much
cash,
money as I possibly can out of my house before they shut this HELOC thing down. You get $1 million. You say, okay, stock market crashed, literally it crashed. And probably a good time to put money in the market. Might be a bottom. You put it in at a low point, it skyrockets over the next couple of months. What did that $1 million turn into?
Wait. He said my CPA might advise me not to. I mean, how about this? Not what it turned into. How did you allocate the $1 million equally throughout those assets?
No.
Or you just dumped like, I'm putting 100,000 in Tesla?
No, Tesla. I'm mad at Tesla because I only put like, I think like 50 grand in Tesla.
Okay.
You know, like, and I put like $500,000. I had put like $500,000 in
Amazon.
Oof. Right, and that one did well.
That did great, but I'm running the numbers for if that $500,000 would have been in Tesla.
Yeah.
After it ran up to like 1,400, then split.
I know. but you know,
what can you do?
You made money.
Part of the game that I've learned is, you got to keep looking forward to the next thing, and like there's always opportunities, and you'll never ever get all of them.
Can't. It's impossible.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you got a handful. You know what I'm saying? And you to pick something up, you always have to let something go to pick something up. So you're hoping that what you're picking up is greater than what you're letting go. And you
leverage. A lot of times people say like, which one is it better, real estate, stocks? But you leverage both. You could do both. You leverage your real estate to put money in stocks.
Yeah.
And then you could take the money out of stocks and buy more real estate. And it's like it's a combination. It's a 1-2 punch. It's not like only do real estate.
Yeah, it's not one or the other.
Only do stocks. And that's a perfect example. You leverage money in real estate, put it in the stock market, made a bunch of money in the stock market, and then
Yeah. So like things kind of cooled off. Like Amazon has cooled off. Like I've been waiting. I'm just like, yo, come on, 4,000, come on, 4,000.
Got the dice rolling.
Back to the dice game.
Yeah. So
old habits die hard.
Exactly. But we stuck at that 32, yo. Like we've been stuck at that 32 for like 3 months.
This is the season, though. This is the season for Amazon. So sit tight on that.
So
one.
let's talk about SR
SROs. Yeah, I was actually going there. Yeah, man.
Yeah, SROs, because you got an interesting story about that. What is an SRO, first and foremost?
Single room occupancy in New York City, where it's a Class B apartment. So it's not like a Class A apartment. Like there's a lot of rules and regulations that the city pretty much comes down and tells you what you can do, what you can't do. The HPD, Housing Preservation Department, tells you all the things you can and can't do with your SRO. It initially, the SRO program was initially a program for like the dudes who came back from war.
Okay.
So they could have a safe place to stay and stuff like that. And over the years, the city is mad late to always change these old things. So all these old rules still apply.
So the Class A and what SROs, the difference, what are some of the differences? Is it like it has to have a full bathroom or a half bathroom? What are some of the differences?
An apartment, you need a bedroom and bathroom and a kitchen.
Okay.
In a Class A apartment. In an SRO, you need a bedroom and you need access to a bathroom and access to a kitchen.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So you don't necessarily have to have your bathroom and your kitchen in your unit.
So this feels like almost like college dormish.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's like we could have a quad with bedrooms,
Yeah.
and a shared
Exactly.
bathroom, shared
Exactly.
kitchen.
Single room occupancy.
Okay, gotcha.
So and the thing about it, so now over the last decade, like when the market has gone crazy and the values of these brownstones and buildings and stuff like that has skyrocketed. The city has put things into place to protect the people, protect the tenants, because we live in a blue state. Out in Texas, California, Texas, Arizona, and stuff like that, Florida.
Arizona's blue now.
Oh, all right. But typically, the red states,
Yeah.
You don't pay your rent, gotta go.
Yeah.
Right. But New York is not that type of place, not that type of party. So there's a lot of laws that protect them. So one of the things that protects SROs right now is something that they call a certificate of non-harassment. Whereas if you before you can convert an SRO into a Class A apartment or into a house or anything like that, you have to get a certificate of non-harassment where HPD does an investigation to find out if the tenants were harassed on their way out or anything like that. And if that's the case, you're pretty much stuck. Because they'll put like a 3-year penalty on you before you could apply again. So
That's tough.
So I purchased an SRO, and
A building, right?
yeah,
Okay.
I purchased an SRO, and the tenants, thought that they were doing the seller dirty by telling HPD that they were harassed, and seller don't care. Seller got their money, so they put that 3-year ban on me.
Oh.
So I basically paid this. I paid $1 million plus for a brownstone, and I can't do anything with it. I couldn't do anything with it for 3 years, so I'm just sitting on this thing, paying hard money on it. Until September of 2021.
That's when you could maybe do renovations to
I
it.
could renovate it, flip it, do whatever.
Is it going to be more lucrative? Because I'm thinking, I'm sure there's like a square footage requirement that they need to have for the SRO, and so I'm thinking like maybe an apartment that you could get $1,200 for, right?
I can't do any, I can't bring more people in, because if I bring people in to rent it now, I'm risking.
I'm saying in 22.
Yeah, but I don't like where the money's at in New York City right now is getting these brownstones and converting them into luxury townhomes where people could spend big money on them. So I could turn around and sell it for $3.5-4 million.
Yeah, so you're not really looking for the rental income of more
Nah,
units.
nah.
You're looking for the like, yo, somebody's coming in to buy this for 1.1.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, no, somebody's coming to buy this for $4 million.
4 million. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
What was I talking about? 1.1.
No, 1.1 is what I paid for
Yeah.
it. So now I'm sitting here and I'm paying, like 10 grand a month, 10 grand a month on a property that I can't do nothing with. But it's a decision that I'm making. I'm saying, all right, I'm losing 10 grand a month, but I'm losing 10 grand a month. But I know when the time comes, I'll be able to sell this for 4 mil.
So it's just another version of your chess move,
Exactly.
right?
But it's
Before
also, you said it's a tax loss. Well,
Yeah. So now I'm paying interest. So that's 120 grand in interest that I'm paying every year. So if I sell a property, if I sold the property, or if I sold my Amazon stock, so but instead of paying capital gains on X, it'll be X minus 120,000. So
because you're taking loss and you're depreciating the asset.
exactly,
Because you're losing money on it.
I'm losing money on this end. Well, not even losing money yet. It's a business expense. So you're taking your deduction from your business expense, and so that brings your taxable income down, which it's what keeps money in your pocket. So, and that, I always say, like, there's 4 different ways to get paid in real estate.
the game, you wear many hats.
Yes.
And that obviously has happened over time, right? So
Exactly.
your initial one was you're the landlord.
Yes.
So at some point you decide to become the developer, then you become the broker, and then you also become the contractor.
Yeah.
What was that process? What
And
led
I
to
used- And at one part, I was a mortgage broker, like your man Matt.
Shout out to MG. So what was the thought process that inspired you to say, you know what, I can do this, let me do this too?
Just trying to keep as much money in house as possible. Like once you get the team together, and everybody's working, for the common goal. It doesn't make sense to pay somebody to do something that you could do yourself. It's cheaper, and the more people you interact with and you connect with on different levels, the more opportunities that come about. So, and it also gives me a better way to look at every opportunity, because now when I come to you, like when an opportunity presents itself, am I going to try to sell this for you? Or am I going to try to buy it for myself? Am I going to sell it for you as a broker? Am I going to try to buy for myself as a developer? Am I going to say, hey, I tell you what, you could buy it, but I'll be the contractor for you. I could bring it to you and say, yo, I got this great opportunity for you. You should buy this building and let me fix it. So it's just different. Like different ways to make money.
So every time you saw another position, it was like cut the middleman, cut the middleman, cut the middleman.
And it's more opportunities.
And more opportunities.
More opportunities, and like each hat that I wear, I have a whole network in. So I'm talking to people, and I'm that's where the opportunities come from. Like in the last 20-something years, I could probably, I've done $100 million in transactions, and I could probably tell you that only 2 times that I've ever purchased something that didn't come from a direct connect. Like somebody called me and said, hey, Jude, I got a deal for you. Wait for my pitch. That's my line. I always wait for my pitch. Like if it's on Street Easy, if it's on the MLS and stuff like that, and everybody else could see it, it ain't my deal.
So at this point, are most of your deals, what kind of financing are you using? Cash, or are you doing traditional financing, hard money? How are you financing your deals?
Whatever makes sense. Like if it's I always do the math, right? So if it makes sense for me to use cash, I'll use cash. If there's enough meat on it where I can use hard money, I'll use hard money. If time is not a big deal, and I could go get traditional financing, and it'll, like this is a house that's gonna appraise, and there's a kitchen and a bath and all that other stuff, and I could go to to go to Chase or somebody like that. I'll do that. Those are my favorites, But most of the time when there's deals and opportunities, there's usually a reason why you're getting a deal and opportunity, and 9 out of 10 times is that it's a deal because traditional financing won't do it. So you're either stuck. You have a decision to make. You're either going to use hard money guy, or you're going to use your cash, or a mixture. What I like to do is I like to take investors where let's say the hard money guy is giving me 80%, and I'll take a couple of investors that give me the 20%. So I'm literally just coming out of my pocket, nothing, just everything is all sweat equity. So
Dope.
Yeah, Rick Ross is famous for having 3 C's, right? Color, cut, clarity. That's his thing. But you have an interesting analogy for your 4 C's and real estate and why they're important. Can you go over it? So you had credit, collateral, connects, and character. Why are they all important?
Credit, like if the banks ain't messing with you, you're dead in the water. Like you need that money. You need your credit. It's like one of your most valuable assets. You're able to leverage, right? Collateral. You need either cash or something. You need to be able to prove that you have a track record. You have skin in the game. I've lost money in business dealings where I was messing with people who didn't have any skin in the game, so they just walk away. So it's very important that you have skin in the game. What's that? Credit, cash, connects. Like it's not BS when they say your net worth is your network. It's just like the more people you know, the more deals, the more opportunities, the more things that come your way. Right? That's like, to me, that's the most important thing. Your connects, your ability to get it done, your ability to know who you could call, the resources that come to you, and so forth. And the last one is your character. If your name is Mud, you're dead. Like streets talk. Like in business, everybody talking. So you do one person dirty, everybody's gonna know. Ain't nobody gonna mess with you. Like one of the things I'm really proud of is that I've been in this game 20 plus years. Like I've never jerked anybody on a deal. I've never lied to anybody. I've never taken anything that didn't belong to me. And I could even say I've never lost anybody money. Well, I lost one person money, but I made it back for him. But like there's been times like I've had investors invest in something, and I promised them a return, and it didn't happen. And I paid out like it did, like everything went cool because I didn't want to burn that bridge. Like, we invested in this, you're gonna make X out of this. And I'd rather pay him that, knowing that I could go back to him one day, then come back, it didn't work out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not gonna be worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Rick Ross, I think that's Carol City Cartel, if I'm not.
I know, but then he says,
Okay.
I mean, when you talk about diamonds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: as far as the because you're a developer, landlord, you're a broker, contractor, so how important is it for people to learn all aspects of real estate, or do you think it is important for people to learn all aspects of real estate?
Back when I was doing hair, right? I went to India. And I learned.
How did you get to India?
In my mind, all I can think about is American Gangster.
How did you
Frank Lucas went to Vietnam?
How'd you go to India to get hair? How did that happen?
All right. So I told you things were really bad. So things were really bad. So what do you do when things are really bad?
Grind.
No, you have a big ass party at your house.
That's an option.
So
That's an option.
remember, I still had
That was my next guess.
this big ass house in out in Jersey.
Yeah.
So
Might as well. Why not? If you lose it, at least you have some good memories.
exactly. So I have this pool party, like 200 people at my crib. This, that, the other people in the pool. This, that, and the next day,
Straight stunting edition.
straight stunting. The next day, I'm cleaning the filters out and I'm pulling out
Hair
hair
all over the place.
all over.
Ooh.
Right? And I'm just like, yo, who did this? Right? So I'm like looking at the pictures to figure out what girl
Left without her hair.
shed in my pool. And then I realized it wasn't one girl.
It was a whole
It was
collection.
every girl in there.
Mm.
I was just like, yo, how does that's what they doing?
Apparently.
That's where the money's at?
Shout out to all our women who wear weaves. No
Thank you.
disrespect.
Thank you.
We love you.
Thank you.
Saved your life.
Saved my life. But so I ended up like doing a little bit of research about this.
Yeah.
And this was around the time Chris Rock had that good hair thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then so I'm trying, like, the internet wasn't popping like it is right now. Like you could get anything like that no matter. So I literally had to go to India to get me a connect, to get me a good connect, or else I'd basically have to buy retail and pretty much make a small margin.
So sight unseen, you just went to India and just like figured it out when you get there?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Chennai, hair capital of the world.
The hair capital of the world.
You know?
You got to meet somebody there.
Yeah. You
And
know?
they speak English.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they speak English. Yeah, they do. Okay.
So I basically got the connect, got a couple of connects.
So you like Frank Lucas.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he going to Vietnam right
You
now.
know, so I go out there and, I start buying from somebody and that didn't work out, and bought from somebody else, until, my first shipment was always great. And then I sent, I had a first shipment for like, 10 keys or something like that. Right. And that's great. All right. And then, so I'm just like, all right, send me over 50 keys. All right. So,
That's right. 50 keys of bundles.
50 keys a bundle. And they come in 4-ounce packets.
Yo, Shai, when we title this, please, 50 keys of bundles.
So
Let that go over your head.
yeah, so what ended up happening was like when I bought the 50 keys, it was just like 5 keys was good and it was like 45 keys of garbage.
Damn.
On your
dope.
tongue, it wasn't getting known.
No.
Yeah, so
They sold you a bad product.
exactly. So
We got screwed over in India a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, personally.
Habitually.
happened.
Yeah, habitually.
on the merch,
We app.
Yeah.
We did an app, and this guy completely screwed us over. Ran us for like 20,000.
30.
Was it 30?
30 bands.
Then we hired another Indian to go fly from his part of India to the other part of India.
Yeah, it was
He
crazy.
screwed us over. We lost.
And then
a
they
lot
went
of
on holiday for 3 weeks.
Yeah, we
and we
lost,
couldn't
we
find
lost a
another
lot
again.
of money in India.
you was on Zoom calls with them, FaceTime and all
Nah,
that.
Zoom wasn't
1 o'clock in the
popping
morning, WhatsApp, WhatsApp calls at like 1 o'clock in the morning because it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon over there, and they acting like they don't really speak English good. It was a whole ordeal.
when they want to.
Yeah.
It's tough.
We
man.
should have called you, man.
It's
Jude,
tough.
Jude the plug.
Nah, it's real, and it's like all of these stories bring back so many memories because it's like I always say, hustling isn't a hobby. If you're an entrepreneur, you got to get the job done by any means necessary. And it's like even with us, like dealing with merch in Pakistan, and like we interviewed Derek Grace, and his thing was in China, and you got to wire these people money, and you like hoping they don't screw you over. And it's like people don't understand. Like these are real stories. Like this really happens in real
Yeah.
life.
They really can run off with it.
Yo,
What can you do? Nothing.
Hop on the plane.
one of my best flips ever was I had gotten a call. It was like maybe 2010. Like my man somewhere, I ain't gonna say where, called me up. He was working at a dock someplace, and he had a container full of toilet paper. Right? He's like, yo, I get you this container full of, like literally a container full of for like $2,500. It's like something in the system where he's like, yo, I've been watching this container. It's nowhere. Like, yo, you can have all the toilet paper in here for $2,500, right? So
that would have been perfect during COVID.
Yeah,
at the beginning of COVID.
Exactly. So I'm just like, yo, I did the math. I was just like, yo, that's like $100,000 worth of toilet paper in there.
So flip.
Right. So I'm just like, all right. So now I'm calling people. You know, I'm calling like people. So my man tell me he has a connect like where he supplies all the bodegas and like you know I could do this and that. I ended up like sending the thing to Panama for like and made like $7,500 on the deal, right? But I like my whole thing was just like, so I'm sending you $2,500, and I've never seen this toilet paper, and you're telling me you're sending it to Panama, and somebody's gonna send me $10,000 back, and he was like, yeah, and I was just like, fuck it.
Rolling the dice.
Oh,
but it worked, right? But
love it.
But you know,
man.
but that's the way you lose money too. You know,
Yeah, that's a fact.
It worked out.
Don't try this at home,
Yeah,
please.
it
Don't try this at home.
worked out. But the truth of the matter is, what like the best cons, right? The best con games is when they put the upside in front of you, and all you're looking at is the upside potential without the downside risk, right? So what you know what I'm saying, Madoff, you know what I'm saying, all of them great scams is like, oh, I'm just looking at the upside. You know what I'm saying? Like but bottom line is, if it's too good to be true, most likely it is.
Yep.
You know, that one incident, you know, that one instance, it was it worked in my favor.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, like being the man that I am today, I wouldn't have risked it.
Yeah, they had a lot of stuff going on, like PPE, like masks. Like you could buy these masks, and then it's like history always repeats itself, and there's always an opportunity for somebody to make money, but you got to be careful because, like you said, I mean, those kind of things you hit, but you're gonna strike out more times than not.
Wait for your pitch, and like right now, I'm big on taking risks, but it has to be a calculated risk. And it has to be a calculated risk, and it has to, like, I have to have a definite plan to control my downside risk. You know, gotta have those stop losses in place.
Stop loss. That's important.
You know,
that's important
In all aspects
of life.
of life.
Yeah,
Stop loss.
Have it in place. You know, and like as you progress. You know, the more you go, like you got to constantly adjust your stop losses. You know what I'm saying? The other day, I'm involved in this business, and I rolled up on the scene, and it was like a lot of high risk behavior going on. And
you were analyzing the location.
Yeah, and then I was just like, yo, I'm making money, but I got to remove myself because, you know, one, my reputation, two, insurance, you know what I'm saying?
Where you could just get killed.
Yeah.
That's an option too,
Yeah, it's just like, yo, this is crazy.
Dangerous, very dangerous.
It's just
high risk behavior.
You know, there was nothing nefarious going on, but it's just like that. Like you get
uncomfortable.
Yeah, every step you take in life, you gotta, you know, like you ain't got. I think Jay has a line where he's like, "Yo, I ain't gotta be in the projects all day" or something like that.
Yeah, I don't be in the projects all day. Talking about how be in the projects all day.
Yeah,
that sounds stupid to me.
Yeah,
if you a gangster.
So at some point, like as you elevate, you can't be doing the same things you were doing, and you can't take the same risks. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's very true. And rest in peace to one of our biggest inspirations, Nipsey Hussle.
The great.
And it's an unfortunate situation. But sometimes when you stay around too long, jealousy, envy, just random things happen in certain neighborhoods where it's you have to elevate in life, and you can't stay in the same environment that you might have grew up in, that you once felt comfortable in. Well, at some point, one things that make you used to feel comfortable make you feel uncomfortable at some point. You should feel uncomfortable, and if you feel comfortable, you have to ask yourself why you feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's just like keeping it real, or keep, like you. One of the things that I always try to say to myself is, I'm not gonna be loyal and I'm not gonna be faithful to my old self. You know what I'm saying?
It's constant evolution.
Yeah, it's just like, just because I said it, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, doesn't mean that it has to stand true.
Right.
Not for nothing, never give my heart to one, something like whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you grow.
And now he's married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You grow.
Yeah. The evolution.
Yeah.
Like, but it's the same. It's in that same lineage of the growth of him and just us listening to the music. It was like we watched him at that point, and we watched him become a mature husband and father. And the same line is like, I ain't worked that hard to be the same.
Yeah. You can't be scared to contradict yourself. You know what I'm saying?
For the betterment of yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, that's hustling backwards.
That's also true.
And you can do that the next day. If I don't feel the same way I felt yesterday, I change my mind.
He does it all the time.
At any point in time, you can reserve the right to change your mind and completely become a different person.
Yeah.
That's why I don't really get into politics too much, because they hold things that you said 20 years ago. Like you said this, it was 1984. I'm a different person now.
Yeah.
It's like you can't be held accountable for things that you said 30 years ago. I mean, it's like Dame said, like I was pouring champagne on girls. Like, I was out of my mind. 50 years old now. I wouldn't do that now.
Right.
You can't hold me accountable for what I did when I was 28.
Yeah, it's wild, man. Like if you ain't growing, you staying the same.
Fact.
So let me ask you this. Speaking about growing, let's end it out on this. You have a nonprofit, the Brooklyn Bank. What is the Brooklyn Bank?
The Brooklyn Bank is like my give back, right? So here I am, and keeping it real, 100%, right? I make my money buying properties cheap and selling it to people high. And unfortunately, most of the people that I sell to, they don't look like me. So I love my people. I care about my people. So what I did was I went and I actually bought the building, the Brooklyn Bank.
Where's it at?
896 DeKalb, Bed-Stuy,
Okay.
Real Bed-Stuy, not what Biggie was talking about.
The real best time.
Right. So basically, I started this nonprofit where I have a building where I do financial literacy programs. Like tomorrow, we giving out toys to the kids. Thanksgiving, we literally gave out 1,000 turkeys and 1,000 things of bags of groceries and stuff like that. So that's my personal give back. My opportunity to kind of even it out. Like the Brooklyn Bank, what it's really about is about financial literacy, financial empowerment, economic empowerment. So I'm really big on teaching, whether it's budgeting, whether it's saving, whether it's credit, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, just trying to share the information, because like you guys do a really great job on this platform of making the information available to those who probably could not get it elsewhere. And you bring the right people on where it's not foreign. And that's the problem. A lot of times people think that these things are out of their reach. So I basically wanted to provide a space, a community, a mindset, an organization where we're focused on letting people know that, you could do this. this whole, like my whole real estate thing, right? My real estate, my business, and all that other stuff. I didn't invent anything. Like, like I've made tens of millions of dollars. Like, I didn't create anything. I didn't make anything better. I didn't revolutionize anything. I'm just following the blueprint that you know that Andrew Jackson was doing back in the 1700s. You know, like you buy land and you take that value and you reinvest in this, that, the other, and you know, you practice discipline, you practice delayed gratification, you know, all these little things. Like, these are all the little things that people have to learn so that they could elevate themselves.
So is it an event space, or is it like almost like a community center where
It's more of a community center.
people can come in? From the
Yeah,
community?
we were doing events. We kind of put that on pause. Like right now, I'm focused 100% on doing community things, and we're going into schools and, you know, bringing in financial literacy stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
So you just partnered with a school?
yeah.
Yeah.
We partnered with a school the other day. I did some research on you guys. I saw you guys have been in the school for years.
Yeah. I'm a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's dope, but that's really what I'm trying to do. You know, like there's in regards to money, right? Like whether you have 10 million, 20 million, 100 million, or $1 billion, right? The price of a steak is the price of a steak. So everything else is excess, right? It's like, so that's kind of, I'm blessed that I'm at a point in my life where, like, another check does not change my life. You know, not change the life that I enjoy leading. You know, you had a dude up here. I was watching the episode, and he said, "Yeah, well, I got a bigger plane now."
Oh yeah, Daryl Freeman. Yeah.
Spoke to him.
Right?
Yeah.
And shout out to him.
OG, free. Yeah.
Shout out to him if he wants a bigger plane. But it's just like, I'm at a point in my life where I'm comfortable. You know, like I don't want to be the dude in a Ferrari if everybody can't have a Ferrari. You know, because then you looking crazy. You looking like, you know what I'm saying? You looking like lunch.
They're gonna put you on the menu.
Yeah. So, you know,
Not if you're in Atlanta. Everybody got Lamborghinis in Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a
Best that's gonna be tough.
There's no COVID in Atlanta. It's popping.
That also might be true.
That's fact. That's a fact.
So that's the Brooklyn Bank to me. You know, like it's a community. It's and it's funny because, like, when I talk to Brooklyn Bank, a lot of times people just think about the physical location, which is cool. You know, because I'm sometimes still in awe of it. It's just like, yo, dude, you own a bank, yo.
Was it a church first, or was it a bank, church, then bank?
It was a bank.
Yeah.
Like it was built as a bank. Like the whole thing is like 16-inch cement and concrete and bricks, right? With a vault and everything. And then in the 80s they started using it as a church. When the bank went under, shout out to Reaganomics. When the bank went under, they started using it as a church, and then I took, you know, I got that deal. And originally, like, my line brother had hooked me up on that deal because I got, you know, like, there was mad people trying to get that building, you know. And one of the caveats of how I got it, and how they accepted my bid instead of some of other bids that was higher, is that I promised that I would keep doing good work in there. You know, like, I wouldn't turn it into a strip club, or I wouldn't knock it down and build condos or nothing like that. So
More employees.
No, Atlanta might argue that might be good work. Shout out to
Support black businesses.
Flame. Shout out to Blue Flame. Shout out to Magic City. Shout out to
112.
Yeah. Support black business.
Exactly.
Support black businesses.
I digress.
Club Rolex. I see you.
Onyx.
I tell her look up because it's snowing in Tootsies. Digression.
Okay. Well, There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Nah, Jude, it's been a pleasure, man. And once again, thank you for teaching that class on EYL University. That was dope. And tell them about that, your experience. I know you answered questions for like an hour and a half. Like, how was that teaching it?
It was dope because like prior to like I kind of have it in my head how I go about analyzing the deal. So prior to that, I've never really written the formula down and wrote it down. So I'm like looking at it, I was like, hey, this is real, this is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very it was pleasing because like the sometimes I talk to people and it's just like they don't get it, but it was good to be in a platform where, where your earners, like, this is what they do and this is what they're trying to do. Mm-hmm. and they're not, the questions were intelligent questions, and they, you as a teacher, you know how it feels like when
every question is a good question.
Exactly.
Nah, yeah, I understand, because like when sometimes when a question is phrased, you can tell somebody's been critically thinking, and that's important, right? Because it's like, all right, I know that that's coming from a place of wanting to know, not just I just wanted to say something. And so shout out to all the earners that asked all those questions. We watched the presentation. It was pretty dope.
I didn't get a chance to watch the whole question and answer, but they told me it lasted 2 hours, which was longer than usually. So I know that there was a bunch of question and answers. So that's dope. He said, Jamal said everybody got their question and answered. So that's dope.
Yeah, like my personal goal is like I said, I made a lot of mistakes. Like there's no reason why I'm not sitting on 9 figures right now, like, except that I made a lot of mistakes. And my goal is to make sure that people don't necessarily make the same mistakes that I made. You're gonna make your own mistakes, but there are a lot of mistakes that I made that could have been avoided if somebody had just pulled me to the side, or if there was a platform like yours where I could get the knowledge.
That's a fact. So how can the people contact you? Social media handles? What's the information? Brooklyn Bank or any other initiative that you want to make the public aware of?
Two places you can get in touch with me. You can get in touch with me at the Brooklyn Bank. That's the Brooklyn Bank as it's spelled, and you could hit me on IG at Mr. Jude Bernard, Mr.JudeBernard.
Thank you. Troy, housekeeping items?
Yeah, shout out to everybody on patreon.com. Y'all know that's our Proud to Pay program. We reference Nip, and that's where we got the idea from. So again, rest in peace to Nip. Shout out to everybody in Crenshaw. Shout out to everybody that showed us love out there when we visited the West. And obviously, Tier 5 members, you get access to EYL University, where you can get some good knowledge from some solid professors, man. And
exceptional professors.
Exceptionals, top of the line. So we appreciate all the support. And shout out to everybody that has been copping the new merch. I know y'all saw that varsity jacket that my boy had on, looking crisp out there, man. So shout out to everybody that's supporting that, man. We are very excited to have it, and seeing everybody wearing it is a testament to hard work, man. So salute to all y'all.
Yeah, and once again, shout out to EYL University. And that's, people ask, like, what's the difference between this and a podcast? And it's like an hour question and answers with somebody that, has $40 million in real estate. It's not something that you get to do every day. And to have a PowerPoint presentation and stuff like that. So these are different things that we bring to EYL University. And we're very, very proud of that platform. So shout out to all the earners out there. Thank you guys for rocking with us. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace. My graduates from my school being Forbes. Bag drop.
A mic drop.
Bag drop.
Bag drop.